Kageo, miame. Kai kakapia ikawi kayo. Mwoye watoru pegao. Mwoye la wakai moye soga sera o jawa o. Tware wabonera yeso ga sera o jawa o. Tawa noira yeso ga sera o jawa o.
Congress as champions of workers' rights in Liberia. And the Ministry of Labor, which is the requisite statutory agency of government that is responsible to regulate labor activities in this country. We are at a point where it's very important for us to flag the discriminations and other interferences from the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Labor into the activities of trade union organizations in Liberia, which is a direct violations of Convention 87, which has to do with freedom of association, and as well as our national constitution, which is Article 17, which gives explicit rights to all people to be able to form organizations of their own choosing, to be able to join trade unions of their own choosing, and that is very clear. But to our surprise, even as we speak at the Liberia Labor Congress, the Ministry of Labor, through the minister himself, is interfering into the affairs of the National Labor Congress in our country, and this is now filtering down to our affiliated unions, including the United Workers Union of Liberia and other union organizations. We found this to be a flagrant violations of our laws, and we want to bring this to the attention of the public, and to call upon the Minister of Labor or the Ministry of Labor to desist from these kinds of acts. As we speak to you, we have already flagged this issue with our international body, which is the highest international body in the world, which is the International Labor Organization, concerning Liberia's interference into the internal affairs of trade union organizations in our country. And this is so because even as we speak, we should be now sitting at the conference table in Geneva, discussing pertinent issues relating to the workers of Liberia, so that we can be able to flag it. But instead of that, because of the interference of our government of Liberia, we are unable to be there at this time. And that is why we have taken this time to join and to join our affiliated union, the United Workers Union of Liberia, regarding government interference into its operations. This is a complete violation, and we say this is unacceptable, and we will not accept it any longer. We want to flag this. We know that it's a right, for workers to form and join unions, but if the government will try to impede that right, then of course we have to take action against it, and that is why we are here to join our colleagues in ensuring that we bring this to the fore and bring show up the red flag against the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Labor.
Members of the press, the most important reason we call on your attention this morning is to share with you what's happening at the Ministry of Labor. Under the labor laws of Liberia, there are rights for workers to associate, there are rights for them to disassociate. And let me be specific with the issue at B Mountain. B Mountain is one of the shops, the local shops at the United Workers Union have organized. We have 8 shops that are operating at the workplaces, and the workers of B Mountain presented issues to the United Workers Union that the employer did not do those things that are supposed to be done in the CBA, meaning that those things that were agreed upon in the CBA is supposed to be implemented by the employer. And the group of our locals are holding the national union responsible because their complaint did not do what they're supposed to do. And These very guys were in the know when we presented these issues at the Ministry of Labor. Last year, 2021, July 27, the Minister of Labor, in person of Councillor Charles Gibson, presided over the issue between Bee Mountain management and the workers. And he ruled that the management were in violation of the collective bargaining agreement and that they should go and abide by the collective bargaining agreement. And this decision was made. After the decision was made, the company went ahead to renege to implement those things that were told them to do by the Ministry of Labor. This union took a position to write the ministry, informing the ministry that the decision they made was not adhered to by the company. Earlier this year, there were demonstrations in Cape Mount at the New Liberty, where the President of the Republic of Liberia got involved and he appointed an interministerial committee that we were part of that went to investigate violations at the Bee Mountain. We were handed a copy of the decisions of the interministerial committee that was headed by Charles Gibson, that all of those violations that were reported were all fair enough, and that even the decision, that committee, the interministerial committee, also recognized the decision of the Minister of Labor that he made July 27, 2021. Now, if this interministerial committee was inconformative with the decision of the Minister of Labor last year, July 27, what is the reason that the locals are still having against the National Union for which they want to disaffiliate? Okay, under the laws, you have the right to associate, you have the right not to associate, to disaffiliate. But what our contention here is, the Minister of Labor, after making a decision in this case, received a petition from the local union of Bee Mountain, and concerning this petition, that the workers have the right to disassociate, whether there are issues or not. So we say, fine, we don't have a problem with that. But Section 37 of the Decent Work Act, it set the pace, how to become a member or how to disaffiliate. And our contention was Section 37.3D. It states that 25% of the workforce have the right to petition the Minister of Labor. Then they petition the Minister of Labor that they don't want to be member of that particular union. The minister will now go to convert a vote. When he conduct this vote at the workplace, when the vote is proven that majority of the workforce don't want to be part of the union again, that union must go out. And what we told the minister was, it should be the workers, but not the union, because the United Workers Union has a national union or has a local union. And 37.4A says there can be a workplace representative if there is a national union, a trade union. Where there's no trade union, no local union representatives. But when the minister is trying to circumvent that particular part of the labor law and give rights to the local union to remain in position, and we are telling him that we're going to challenge him today, we're going to challenge him tomorrow. If he tries to circumvent this law, we will take him to court. We will take him to court because you cannot be a councillor, you cannot be a minister of labor, and you don't want to go by the law, you want to circumvent the law because of personal interest. And this is the position of the United Workers Union of Liberia. We will take the Minister of Labor to court if he tries to circumvent the law. Workers have the right to join freely, they have the right to live freely, but they must follow the procedure. The procedures are being tampered with by the Minister of Labor. So this is why we'll call you to share with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so, gentlemen, I think you listen to the two speakers propounding exactly what is obtaining and how they feel, given their feeling as a national
role in terms of resolving this issue, because I know this is not something that I just started just yesterday. What has been your own issue in terms of engaging the minister? Yeah, the workers, the United Workers Union. The question goes to you. What has been your own issue in terms of engaging the minister to get this thing resolved?
The company, B Mountain Management, there were a series of meetings that we had with B Mountain Management, along with even the new group that were elected that came into play, that were elected December, and the late Assistant Minister, Zio Mensa. Zio Mensa was instrumental in this thing. I'm sorry, Zio Mensa was alive today. I don't think we would have reached where we are. I think this would have been resolved because he knows the labor issue. He articulates well and he's labor-minded. So we're missing him a lot. There are a lot of things that we did. There are a lot of approaches that we made. My colleagues are here. We made a lot of trips to New Liberty, to meet the management, to meet the local union, to meet the workers, even the Minister of Labor. Yes, the Minister of Labor. But we just cannot go beyond that. But we've done our part. But maybe the minister has he has interest. Maybe that's why he's doing what he's doing.
So what is the workers at Deer Mountain, what are they saying as it relates to this particular situation? Are they willing to disassociate themselves from the United Workers Union, or are they maybe kind of interested in being a part of the workers union?
We have not had the time to talk to the workers. The workers in majority are divided over the issue. They have divided opinion. But the local union who are representing them are the ones dealing with the minister. The minister is not dealing, they have not dealt with the workers in particular. They have not met them, they have not had a meeting with them. But what the local union going to tell him is what he's dealing with.
What's the relationship with the local union?
Well, the locals are our locals. We put them in power. And for us, we are not have a bad relationship with them. Why would know everything was perfect? Except where they are deciding now to say they want to be where they want to be. Or they don't want to be where they were. That's what they're just telling us.
Okay. I come in from my understanding, it seems that you are serving as the head for all other local unions and directly may report to you. So like what you just said, they were appointed by you. So now they are breaching the appointment that was made by your organization and dealing directly with the minister. So what would be your next course of action since it's supposed to work in line with your MOU, memorandum of understanding as a workers union, and they are not breaching it?
What we say, you know, when you have even your own wife, when you have a wife in the house or you have a husband, that your woman can get up one day and say, I don't want to be part of this marriage again. Now, right? The man also can say that. But when any of the couple, any of the parties says that, you go through the process. You're not going to kill anybody because they say they don't want to be with you again. You understand? Yeah. And I want to tell you this. One of the reasons why we don't want the process to go the way it's going because of precedents. The precedent here is local unions are not established at the workplace except there is a national trade union there. So if you give local union the right to do what they are doing, they're going to set a precedence for everything to break apart. Then the whole labor sector, if is going to break apart. You understand? So if the 25% of the workers, of the workforce, have petitioned the Minister of Labor that they don't want to be part of this process, both the national union and the local union are out. You're not going to be local, you're not going to have positions again. Because we who gave you the position, we gave you position, we say you chairman, you secretary, you financial man, we gave you the position, it's this union. So if you're not going out, how are you going to remain there? You can't remain there. So you're going to be there, even though you're an employee, you're going to be ordinary employee. This is what we are fighting. The precedent is what we are fighting.
And in other words, before I ask the question, if that goes the way it's going. So now my question to you, Mr. Secretary General, is that the Labor Congress have a greater role to play in this situation. What is the LB, LLC is doing to kind of arrest this situation? What are some of the mechanisms putting in place instead of just, complaining along with the United Workers Union?
Well, that's a very important unions. We have a peaceful harmony in terms of engagement between the management, between the employers and the workers, as well as with the national government. But you see, what we notice is unfolding here is that this ministry and this government and this minister in particular, what is obtained here is that when there are issues, when issues come up, I think you listen to the Secretary General of UO, cataloging the series of violations that have been taking place at the Bee Mountain, and there are other issues in other workplaces that have been cataloged and raised with the Ministry of Labor. Now, when those issues come out and it is raised at the Ministry of Labor has an enforcement authority. Okay? So if she ruled in a situation or in a condition where the management or even the workers are wrong, and you come up with a solution to the problem, it is the obligation of the government to ensure that those issues are resolved, and whoever is affected take the necessary steps or the necessary action to correct it. Now that this is not done at the Bee Mountain and so other places, this is what we experience. The government will come out, we complain to the government because they are the regulatory agency, they have the statutory role. We complain to the government against employers. They will go in, conduct investigations, come out and say, look, employer, you are wrong within the certain scope of the law, and you must, abide by the law, you must implement. And when the employer delay or fail to implement, where is the enforcement power? They are not exercising enforcement power. And as a result, you find out that most of these employers' organizations, this is what they do. Because they find out the government is so weak, or the minister is so weak in terms of enforcing this enforcement power. So what happened there? The workers and their families suffer the consequences. And that is the result why you find out the leadership is blaming the local leadership, the national union. That's why they blame the national union. And then they carry the complaint to the same minister who has failed to enforce a very law that he said the company management violated. So how can we reconcile this? This is the situation that we are faced with. You understand? So, and then with the ministry own interaction with the Liberia Labor Congress failing to recognize the leadership of the Liberia Labor Congress, failing to interact with the Liberia Labor Congress, and interfering in the activity of the Liberia Labor Congress, because you want to decide who will become the head or who will become the leader of the Liberia Labor Congress. This is unacceptable.
Why do you think the minister is doing this?
This is unacceptable. Can I accept that? Because under the tripartite convention rules, and even in article, convention 87, it stated clearly all employers or workers organizations with their own choosing can select and elect under their own laws and procedure, their own leadership. The government has nothing to do with it. And you understand, all you need to do is just recognize it once the process is in place. This is the problem that we are faced with. And this is not only a situation at the Bee Mountain. This is something that is happening all across our country. And as a result of this, the workers are blaming the union leadership, for not playing their role. You understand what I'm saying? So what you want the union leadership to take action and start carrying out wildcat strike all across the place? No, we don't want it that way. And that is why the Ministry of Labor Trade Union Division says social dialogue. We try to ensure, and we dialogue, with the employer, we dialogue with the government to make sure that these things are workable so that our people, the workers and their families, can benefit from their labor. But if these kinds of issues are brought before the governing authority that has the enforcement power, and if they fail to carry out their duty, what do you expect? What do you expect? We have to stop this.
Definitely we have to stop this. This is why we are flagging the issue.
Okay,
I
so
come in. One core issue there is the decision. Enforce the decision.
Yes.
You didn't enforce the decision. The same people came to you and say the company will talk to you that you didn't enforce. They say they want to leave the national union. Say, okay, you get a right to go. So what is it? Where are we leading to? That's what we call you.
okay, so with all of those happen, there should be some independence with all members on the tripartite team. So where does it fall in terms of a tripartite independence? Are you independent now, or are you suffering the wrath of
The worker representative, the employer representative, the government representative. These three parties, people will sit down together to discuss labor, how you're going to expand the labor, how you're going to make it better for the people that are working. But that tripartite committee doesn't even work. If you're not recognizing the Labor Congress, meaning that you want to do it the way you are doing it, to single-handle it. Because if Cisco was there or anybody from Labor Congress was there in the tripartite meeting, they will tell you, the minister, you don't have to do this, you are wrong to do this. Because on that tripartite committee, everybody right, they can express their views equally. But they're not giving room to that. That's why he says he's not recognizing anybody on the Labor Congress. So now he's doing what he's doing. You think so that's the way the minister wants to run. That's what they are saying. They're not recognizing the Labor Congress.
So are you in trouble?
Surely. No, the labor sector is in trouble.
The labor sector.
The labor sector is in trouble.
What is happening right now is there's a complete void. There's a complete emptiness in terms of how the workers' organization, quote unquote, relate to the government of Liberia and to our tripartite partners because of the unrecognizable effect of the Ministry of Labor, of the leadership of the Liberia Labor Congress. And that is why I said, even from my initial speech, that we have flagged this at the International Labor Organization. We have flagged Liberia already. And I can tell you, that case is going to come up. And we're going to raise the issue concerning Liberia. Look, let me tell you something. Liberia is the oldest ILO member in Africa. You understand what I'm saying? And being the oldest member in ILO in Africa, to be violating Convention 87 that has been ratified by the Liberian government, and which specifically is enshrined in our national constitution, freedom of association. I mean, what's all of that discrimination for? Today, public sector workers are not recognized to form unions in our country. When the rest of the world, even police officers that carry arms, have the trade union organization to advocate for their benefits and other social amenities, and you are denying workers in the name of the state. On what ground? On what ground? Look at the Nigeria Labor Congress or federal government. Look at all those people. You know how many teachers you have in Nigeria? They are public servants, but they have the trade unions, and they are recognized by the Nigerian government. Look at what is happening to us here. Healthcare workers. You understand? Some of the reasons that we are facing some of these problems, people consider trade unions to be our troublemakers. We are not troublemakers. In fact, we are catalysts for national development. I gave you an example. Let's look at Firestone right in our backyard here. It took 60 years for the establishment of Firestone for 1926 before a union was recognized in Firestone. And not only 60 years, but a national major upheaval, the coup of 1980. Before a decree was passed for agricultural workers to be unionized. Even at that, it took another 25 years under Madam Salif government before an independently led union was able to transform Firestone within less than 5 years. But all of those 60 years, when the company was amassing billions of dollars for our natural resources, what did we get? We have forced labor, child labor, inhumane working and living conditions, starvation wages, poverty wages, and everything you can think about. This is history. This is something that is clearly right before our eyes. We don't have to tell you this. Because of what? The discriminatory law that was even in our past labor law, that agricultural workers should not form unions. This is the same thing that is happening to public sector workers in this country. Why are you denying public sector workers the right to engage about issues relating to them? Today, everyone is living in our hinterland, our rural areas. Everybody is floating to Morocco. On what basis? The government is the highest employer in our country. But if you give the public sector workers the opportunity, they will sit with the government and will provide incentive for those who are going to work in the rural areas. And they will have the opportunity to be able to teach our kids, to be able to have the quality, provide the necessary health care and other things for our people in the hinterland. But nothing is there because the people don't have a voice. The workers don't have a voice. Public sector workers don't have a voice. But look at our national budget now as we speak to you. It's almost hitting the 1 billion mark. But when you are employed as a public sector worker, if you are employed with $200 United States dollars, you earn that money until you retire. What is that? When the budget keep claiming, so only the minister in the cabinet, the lawmakers are the only ones that should benefit. That is sad for our country.
Kageo, Kageo, Miame. Kaiga kabia ikawi kayo. Mwenye watu rupekao, mwenye la wakai moye soga sera o jawa o.